This is the general description up to the 7th year of his rule. Up to 7th year of his rule. He will rule for definite the Arabian Peninsula and Bilad al-Sham, the area of Syria. This is why when the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam recommended for people to live in Bilad al-Sham, this is more specifically for the end of times, that the people will exhorted to live in Syria because such a ruler should come in the future. But in the 7th year of his rule, he shall take over the region of Constantinople. This city, this is an old map of Constantinople. This is one of the first signs of the appearance of Dajjal. Another point that is mentioned now is the first thing is that the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, on the authority of Sayyiduna Muhammad bin Jabal radiyallahu anhu, قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم عمران بيت المقدس خراب يثرب وخراب يثرب خروج الملحمة وخروج الملحمة فتح القسطنطينية وفتح القسطنطينية خروج الدجال. This hadith. ثم ضرب بيده على فخذ الذي حدث أو منكبه ثم قال إن هذا لحق كما أنك ها هنا. The inhabitation of Al-Quds is the ruin of Yathrib. The ruin of Yathrib will lead to the great massacre, Al-Malhama, to the conquering of Constantinople, and the conquering of Constantinople to the coming of a Dajjal. Then the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam struck his hand on the thigh of the person. So this is misspelling. On his thigh or his shoulder. After which the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, this is surely the truth, just as you are, or just as you are sitting down. Meaning you are here or sitting down. So this is telling us the chain of events. What shall happen first? In the 7th year of the rule of Imam Mahdi, RadiAllah anhu, Al-Quds al-Sharif shall be inhabited. How? After the black banners have taken over Al-Quds, people shall move to Al-Quds. Why? Because the city will be replenished. Al-Imam Mahdi will give out gold. People will leave and abandon Al-Madinatul Munawwara. This is the first abandonment. Remember, some believers will stay, because when a Dajjal will appear, he will surround the city. And even disbelievers will stay. Al-Imam Badruddin al-Aini in Umdatul Qari states that those hypocrites that will remain in Al-Madinatul Munawwara are the Rawafid. They shall remain. So this shows that the Rawafid shall remain even during the time of Al-Imam Mahdi, if that position of Al-Imam Badruddin al-Aini is correct. But nevertheless, after this, the city will be developed, Umranul Quds, that the city of Al-Quds will be developed. The city of Al-Madinatul Munawwara is not mentioned as Al-Madinah, it is mentioned as Yathrib, which is the old name of Al-Madinatul Munawwara. So the city will be abandoned, and then what will happen? The details are mentioned here. This is prior to Al-Malhama, so there are 3 stages. Umran al-Quds, that Jerusalem shall be built up. The city of Yathrib shall be abandoned. This is the first abandonment. The second abandonment will happen in the end of times. That is described in the end of times, when people shall totally abandon Al-Madinatul Munawwara and date trees shall grow there. This is not referring to that. This will lead to the great massacre Al-Malhama. Now what will happen before Al-Malhama? This hadith describes that. The hadith states ستصالحون الروم صلحا آمنا فتغزون أنتم وهم عدوا من ورائكم فتنصرون وتغنمون وتسلمون ثم ترجعون حتى تنزلوا بمرج ذي تلول فيرفع رجل من أهل النصرانية الصليب فيقول غلب الصليب فيغضب رجل من المسلمين فيدقه فعند ذلك تغدر الروم وتجمع للملحمة. This hadith states, you will make a treaty with the Romans. So this treaty will not take place now. Some people are claiming that the current war in Syria means that Constantinople shall be taken over now in this current state. This cannot take place now. What will happen is that these wars and the fitna will continue until the gold appears, until all these signs have taken place, until Imam Mahdi appears. Then the believers shall make a treaty with the Romans. Who are the Romans? Who are the Romans? Who did we mention as being the Romans previously? The Europeans. So the Muslims and the Europeans will invade an enemy beyond Rome. This enemy is not mentioned in the hadith. The enemy is not mentioned in the hadith, that this enemy shall exist beyond Rome. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows who this enemy is. But we know that this sulh with Rome, this treaty with Rome, consists of what we call today the United Nations, because later on Rome shall come with 80 banners, each banner followed by 10,000 men. Russia alone does not have this power. Yes, they do have a huge army, but this is a united army of many nations, which is known as Rome. The European Union, America alone has over 52 flags. America alone has 52 flags, 52. If you count UK, 53. And then Europe has many flags. If you add the flags of Europe and America, it's sufficient. But if you look at the UN, it has many flags. These are all the flags. But at this time, the Muslims with Imam al-Mahdi's army will take over an enemy beyond Europe. Where that enemy is, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows best. After this, remember, Constantinople has not been taken over by Imam al-Mahdi. And currently, who rules Constantinople? Turkey. Turkey is Ataturk's Turkey. Ataturk, the individual we saw, looks like a man from a comic book. His Turkey is under Europe, and currently is under Europe. And the Turks are ruled by secular governments or a secular army. I know we have this, currently we have an Islamic party, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows how long that will last when Imam al-Mahdi appears. So at that time, Turkey will still be under the rule of Rome, of the Romans. And when one of the Muslims will kill this man will take the cross. So at this time, the Muslim will break the cross, and this will break the treaty. When the treaty is broken, the Europeans shall come with 80 flags, 80 banners, and under each banner 10,000 men. This is over 800,000. Another hadith states 12,000. Another hadith states 12,000. So at this time, where will they descend? They will come, and the hadith states, لا تقوم الساعة حتى ينزل الروم بالأعماق. The hour will not be established until the Romans come to an area called al-a'maq here, or dabiq. Here the hadith states al-a'maq in the Sahih of Imam Muslim. Na a'mash, a'maq, or dabiq. And so the hadith states, فَيَخْرُجُ إِلَيْهِمْ جَيْشٌ مِّنَ الْمَدِينَةِ مِنْ خِيَارِ أَهْلِ الْأَرْضِ يَوْمَئِذٍ. an army composed of the best people on earth at that time will come out from Al-Madinah to meet them. Some have stated Al-Madinah here may mean Damascus at that particular time, or Al-Quds. But the apparent meaning of the hadith is Al-Madinatul Munawwara. But because we mentioned, this is interesting as well, we said Kharab, the hadith states Kharabu Yathrib. So if it is an army from Al-Madinatul Munawwara, this would explain why Al-Madinatul Munawwara will be abandoned. You cannot imagine the ushaq, the lovers of the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, abandoning Al-Madinatul Munawwara. No, they will go to defend the borders of Al-Islam. Like the companions alayhim ridwan left Al-Madinatul Munawwara, they will also go out to meet this Roman army. So the European army will come and land at this region. This is Dabiq. Today, look, this is from Google. You have Dabiq, this is where the Europeans will come. So after the Muslims and the Europeans united and fought an enemy, a Muslim, what we call a qalandar, will break the cross, and after this, the cross is broken, and the Europeans will break the treaty, and they will come with over 800,000 soldiers to attack the nation of Imam Mahdi radiallahu an. They will land in this region known as Dabiq. This now leads to the next stage, which is Al-Malhamatul Kubra, which is known as the Armageddon. Many Bible bashers and people from the Bible Belt in America go on about Armageddon. They must learn this, that the Armageddon will not take place until all of these signs have taken place. So this hadith now is a beautiful hadith describing the state of the Muslims before Armageddon. The hadith states, عن يسير بن جابر قال هاجت ريح حمراء. From Yusayr bin Jabir, once there was a storm in Kufa, but the wording in the hadith is Rihun Hamra, a wind, a red wind, a wind which was red. فجاء رجل ليس له هجيرا إلا يا عبد الله بن مسعود يا عبد الله بن مسعود جاءت الساعة. So a man came to Sayyiduna Abdullah bin Mas'ud, and he had nothing to say except that the hour has approached, or has the hour approached. قال فقعد وكان متكئا فقال إن الساعة لا تقوم حتى لا يقسم ميراث ولا يفرح بغنيمة. Sayyiduna Abdullah bin Mas'ud said, he was sitting down reclining against something, and then said the hour will not come until people will not divide inheritance and will not rejoice over war booty. How will this happen? ثم قال بيدي هكذا. Sayyiduna Abdullah bin Mas'ud lived in which city? Which city after the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam? Which city did he live in? The city of Al-Kufa. So sitting in Al-Kufa, he states, ثم قال بيدي هكذا ونحاها نحو الشام. He pointed towards Syria, and he said, عدو يجمعون لأهل الإسلام. An enemy shall congregate for the people of Islam. Note, he did not say Ya'juj and Ma'juj will congregate. If they were Ya'juj and Ma'juj, we established who the Europeans are. If these people were the Ya'juj and Ma'juj, then there would be no reason to mention later that Ya'juj and Ma'juj are appearing. So he said, they will congregate. وَيَجْمَعُ لَهُمْ أَهْلُ الْإِسْلَامِ. At this point, the people of Islam will unite and gather under the ruler of Imam Mahdi radiallahu an. So the people asked, do you mean the Romans? Ar-Rum? He said, yes. Now how do we know who Ar-Rum is? The same people who placed sanctions on Syria and on Iraq. These people will gather to attack al-Imam al-Mahdi radiallahu an. He said, yes, At that time there will be a very heavy fighting. The Muslims will prepare a detachment to fight to the death. They will not return unless they are victorious. They will fight until night intervenes. Both sides will return without being victorious. Then many will be killed on both sides. On the fourth day, the Muslims who are left will return to the fight, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will cause the enemy to be routed. There will be a battle the like of which has never been seen, meaning the intensity is so much, so that even if a bird were to pass their ranks, it would fall down dead before it reached the end of them. This shows the use of chemical weapons. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows best. I'm not trying to interpret the hadith and take it out of context, but a bird is very high up. So the only way we can explain that with modern warfare is either the launching of rockets is so intense, the firing is so intense, and chemical weapons are so intense that birds in the sky will fall dead. Some people ask, will we have swords when Dajjal appears? Yes, but how will that happen? This will cause it. So Imam Mahdi will have weapons like modern warfare, but toward the end, before a Dajjal appears, we'll go on to the signs of a Dajjal. Just before his appearance, there will be famine, intense wars, and Armageddon will take place. So this is the actual Armageddon. So you have some conspiracy theorists who prepare for Armageddon now, and they prepare with a kit. They have a survival kit and these type of things. You have nothing to worry about. The world will continue until all these signs have taken place. But at the same time, we are not relaxed, because tomorrow morning you can wake up and the Euphrates has dried. But how do we prepare? We prepare by praying 5 times a day. We prepare by reading al-Qur'an al-Kareem in abundance. We prepare with taqwa, keeping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in our minds. We prepare with dhikrullah, the remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Why? Because after this war, the sustenance of the believers will change. Remember, they will take over Constantinople. How will they take it over is going to be mentioned. So this hadith states, so then, that even if a bird were to pass their ranks, it would fall down dead before it reached the end of them. Out of a family of 100, only one man will survive. So how could he enjoy the booty or divide any inheritance? This explains the hadith which states that the end of times will not come until for every 50 women there will be one man looking after them. This is that time. From every 50 women, one man will look after them. This is after Armageddon, al-malhamatul kubra. So the hadith states, while they are in this state, they will hear of an even worse calamity. A cry will reach them. This cry is from Dajjal, from shaitan. The Dajjal has taken your place among your offspring. So they will throw away whatever is in their hands and go forward, sending 10 horsemen as a scouting path. The Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, I know their names, meaning the horsemen, and the names of their fathers and the colors of their horses. They will be the best horsemen on the face of the earth on that day. So those horsemen will appear in the future in the army of Imam Mahdi radiallahu anhu. And these 10 men are so lucky that the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam mentioned them specifically in the hadith.